Hi, welcome along to Barbecue Life UK, where great barbecue doesn't have to cost a fortune, and today we're talking shack hacks. So in our shack hacks today we're going to cover three areas. So our first area we're going to cover storage, our second area we are going to cover ventilation, and our third area we're going to cover a little hack that I've discovered with the building that could well make your life a bit easier. So as I say, the first thing that we're going to cover is storage. So I've got my aldi kamado this side. So everything for my aldi kamado is on the back wall next to it. So I've got no shelves for extra grates and deflectors and the higher grill grate, the extender. They're not on shelves, they're all on the back wall and easily grabbable. And then all of my tools. So they go from pizzas, which obviously I'm only going to use on the aldi kamado side, spatulas, got a wok with holes in, which is really good for doing veggies. That's my paella pan that I use as a drip tray and things like that. Tongs, everything is on the wall. And then we've got a few shelves for rubs around there. Blue gloves because it's easier for when you are filming. And then this side is a mess. So I've got the divide and conquer in there, washing up bowl, smoking chips, all sorts of different bits, microphone that I use for the recording. And then down on the floor we've got smoking wood, chimney starter, and a little portable barbecue, and a fan, because a fan is a great addition to the shack in the summer. So over this side I've got everything I use for the Weber Master Touch. So I tend to do my prep over this side a bit more. So I've got knives on the wall, I've got my cast iron sear grate, and then above the fridge, we've got a fridge in here. Above the fridge is a rotisserie, so that's only on the side that I use for the kettle, which is built in over here. And then over here I've got my cast iron and my vortex, chopping board, things like that, charcoal underneath. So yeah, you've got so much space to utilise. Don't worry about doing shelves, just make sure that you've got everything accessible for what it is that you're cooking on that particular side. So the next thing we're going to talk about is ventilation. So my roof I've painted black so it slants up, and then I've got a gap at the top. I'll put you in line with the roof. You've got a gap at the top so the smoke goes up and then goes straight out of the roof, and that is the only ventilation I have. Obviously we've got the big front. I have to excuse my garden because we're currently renovating. I've got the hatches at the front, but the smoke will always rise and then go out of this at the top. And when the front's hinged down, that gap is very small, but it gives me airflow so that it stops you getting damp and mould inside the shack. So I don't have a massive amount of ventilation. I will be looking at putting some fan ventilation in at some point, but as I say, it's not a massive amount. About 2 inches is all that is, and that tends to be enough. So just a quick look from the front. So the hatches go up, and then that is the ventilation gap from the very front. So it's not a lot at all. So the third point, which might sound really silly, is making your shack in panels, because you never quite know if you're going to need to move it. If you decide you're moving house, then you're going to want to shake your shack with you, because this is going to become your pride and joy. You're going to add to it and add to it and add to it and change it about and do everything that suits your needs. So if you ever move house, or you decide to move your garden round like we did, my wife said to me the other day that she thought that it might be a good idea to have the shack in a different position. She explained it to me. I took them points on board, added a few of my own, and we decided that yeah, the shack is going to move in the garden, so it's gone to an opposite corner. But the way that I built this shack was in panels. So I built a side panel, built a side panel, built a back panel. The front comes out as well, and then the roof. If everything was interlocking, so if we only had one piece of battening in the corner, and then we had it attached here and attached here, then you'd have to take all of them slats off the side in order to be able to move one bit. Where all I've done is unscrew the two joists that go together, taken that panel out and moved that across the garden. So it made moving this really, really easy. So it came down one morning The hardest part of getting off was the roof, which was an absolute bloody nightmare, but that's another story. It came down in the morning, and then we had all hell broke loose with the rain a few weeks ago. And then the next day, it took me another morning into the afternoon to put back together, get the worktops back in place and everything like that. But really and truly, if the weather was kinder, then we could have got this moved in a day, because it is built in panels. So it's definitely something to consider doing, because you never know when your situation is going to change. If you're going to move house or you want to move your garden around, it makes a really good idea. So all of these panels, these are made from pallet slats. So for a bonus tip, pallet slats are not treated, so make sure that you treat them in whatever. This is done in a light brown creosote, and they are painted both sides, and I'll just get the ventilation up to begin with while the smell went down, because creosote does tend to kick up a bit of a stink. So yeah, make sure you always treat all of your wood, especially if it's reclaimed, as a little bonus tip. So if you like what we're doing here at Barbecue Life UK, then please do subscribe to the channel, make sure you like the video, let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching.